This is the Voice of the Land podcast with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Nick Paulus.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to another edition of the Voice of the Land podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Arnold. Alongside me, as always, my brother, Nick Paulus, and our producer extraordinaire behind the proverbial glass, Peter Tella. We are partnered with Web Streaming Studio by LPV Productions and NEO Sports Network. And, of course, our sponsor here in Season 4, DP Construction LLC. Want to thank Tyler LaFrada for coming in and filling in last week as Paulus's guest co-host last week. Of course, you can reach out to them for all your concrete construction needs. Phone number, 330-217-4999. That's 330-217-4999. Of course, they are on Facebook as well, DP Construction LLC. Reach out to them, and they have some beautiful, beautiful pictures of the work that they've already done. I guess Uncle Steve, listening to the podcast last week, Uncle Steve doing the work. Tyler will get you set up. Uncle Steve will come out and get all the work done, and you can have some great concrete work done that you've been looking to get done around the home. And, of course, just like you can reach out to them on Facebook, you can reach out to us on Facebook as well, at Voice of the Land. Of course, Twitter, Instagram, the two big ones in social media, at VTL_pod, Paulus at CLE_Paulus, myself at Kevin7, because I always come in clutch at the end. And, of course, with LPV Productions and NEO Sports Network, search them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can like and follow them there. And, hey, we got the video going, so you know we got that YouTube channel rocking right now, at Voice of the Land Podcast. Big things coming. Nothing we're getting into just yet. We're still working through some things, but told you big things are coming in Season 4, and you can catch all of that on YouTube as well as on Apple, Spotify, and Google. And, of course, you can find that channel once again at Voice of the Land Podcast on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications when all of our video content gets posted on there. Today, we are going to talk Browns. We're going to talk football. I'm back. We've had 2 games already in 1 week since you guys previewed week 1 last week. We've had 2 games already.
The range of emotions was crazy on both.
The roller coaster.
It was roller coaster. It's probably the best way to describe it.
As LeBron described his feelings on the MVP award last night, it's the same way I can describe my feelings about the Browns. I was pissed. I was pissed at the early results, but I'm okay. I got the wine. I can lay my head down at night. I go to my room. I just relax and everything. So we'll get into all of that. We will talk a little NBA as they are in the conference finals. We're getting down to the nitty gritty down there in the bubble, and we will talk a little, maybe touch on the Indians, and if we have some time, we'll get into fantasy. Sure. But as we're talking right now, I'm sure as you're listening, you already know who Ohio State is playing. The Big Ten is back. We, it's been back and forth. Will they come back? Will they not come back? Will they have the medical plan in place to come back? They are back, and the schedule is being announced as we record right now on Fox's Big Noon Kickoff show. And, of course, I'm sure ESPN College Game Day is also talking about it right now as well. We know Ohio State will play Nebraska at home in the first game. Times, rest of the schedule, slowly leaking out. So you have the advantage of listening to us after. We have to wait until it's announced. So we're going to wait till the end, kind of keep our eyes on Twitter as we go through the podcast today, and give our reactions to that live as it happens. So as you're listening later, you get our live reactions. You don't get that very often on here. Who knows? Maybe you'll get that a little bit more in the future, though. Maybe. That's what they call in the business a tease. But I am back for my on assignment from last week, as it is said in the business. I loved how you phrased that last week, Paulus. I love that. I just tell people where I'm going all the time.
Right, just on assignment.
I never say, I'm going on assignment next week, and we'll have a guest host. I say, I'm going to hang out with my girlfriend's family, or I got a family thing, or we got a vacation.
Sure.
I probably shouldn't say all that, because then people know where to find me. People know where to find me.
Good point.
Or they know where you're not.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
Little twist.
Yes. Well, I don't got anything valuable anyway, so except for my shoes. Nobody touch my shoes.
Don't do that.
Don't touch my shoes.
Or your shirts.
Yeah, that's true. But Yeah, but I can always. Those are.
Oh, by the way, I'm surprised you didn't notice.
Oh, I noticed.
Yeah.
I noticed. Don't worry. I noticed. You got the GV artwork working.
I'm rocking the GV artwork.
I got that GV artwork. Brown sweatshirt on here today. Paula's
Not so much.
But what? How many Bang energy drinks are you on already?
This is number 2.
Okay.
This is number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's
So you're going two pre-show.
Two per show. Yeah, I think
Two pre-show.
Two per show.
Two pre-show.
I had one pre-show and
Okay.
now I have one during the show.
How far are you on that one?
I mean, I just started it, just cracked it open, so halfway.
Okay, halfway. Yeah. So, all right, 1.5 pre-show.
Sure,
Before
yeah.
you even jump on the mic. So,
Yeah, without doubt.
you're
yeah.
trying to get your sponsor. You're trying to get more sponsorships.
Absolutely. Bang energy.
We got 2 of 3 on the same page of another sponsorship. So we're all trying to do that work.
That's right.
But we are all rocking the Cleveland gear. Of course, you and I got the Brown stuff on, and Browns lose in the opener. Was it 38-6? I mean,
Yeah,
it's been
38 to
so long
6.
ago
I mean,
now.
it's one of those games where you just throw away the video, like you throw away the tape because it was that ugly, and like you really can't learn much from that video.
Wait, the Browns started last Sunday? I thought they started on this past Thursday.
Well, I mean, it looked like I would have much rather preferred that they started off like that, scoring 35 against Cincinnati, be the opening game there for us. But losing to Baltimore, it shouldn't have crushed our spirits because Baltimore is such a great team, overall. But obviously, I mean, a lot of people overreacted to Baltimore, beating the crap out of the Browns, 38-6. But you live and you learn.
And I know we want to throw away the tape on that, but I mean, just quickly after that game, not just how you felt, but once you had time to process what really happened, and you always want to give it 24 hours. There's always that 24-hour rule
The
to
buffer.
really, that buffer there, because immediate reactions are going to come out, and they're coming out on Twitter during the game and after. I've stopped live tweeting games, like I've gone back to that, because yes, there are moments that impact what the end result is that you can react to live and not realize that you're reacting to the big moment, but it's still, you don't see the full story. So if a team starts out crappy and, if the Browns would have came back in that game, then, what is the full story there? Of course they didn't, but
Right.
that I've gone away from live tweeting. As much as that connects with fans out there, I just take it all in.
And see, I'm complete opposite. I have to release my emotions somehow, and I'm not going to freak out in the middle of my living room or anything like that. So that's why I send it all out via tweets. And so the kicker misses the extra point. Every single year.
Yes.
Every single year, the kicker has to miss the extra point, the opening extra point of the season. It just sort of sends you down the bad path. So, obviously, I mean, I tweeted, why can't we find a kicker to, kick extra points? We finally did. And going back to Cody Parkey, which is kind of crazy to, think about that. Cody Parkey's now back in the fold with the Browns. He had a great game, the other night. So, we'll go from there. But that being said, I have to live tweet. I have to get it off my chest.
Is it not healthy to yell in your living room, or
you can yell in your living room,
or your potential future in-laws' living room?
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on what you yell, I guess is probably the best way to put it.
Is it bad?
How many expletives are you throwing into the mold?
Maybe too many.
Too many. Yeah, see, and like for me personally, like I've been there. I've been there of screaming and yelling, and that's why I just get it all out on Twitter now, and just I get out all of my emotions on Twitter, especially for Browns games, Indians games every once in a while. I'll watch an Indians game, and if they give up a home run or something like that, I don't immediately have to go to Twitter. I'll just be like, oh come on, like are you kidding me? Like for real bullpen, come on. But for me personally, the Browns, tweeting is the best sort of emotional release is probably the best way to put it for me.
I guess if I'm just looking at it more, I'm someone that does wear my emotions on my sleeves, and it's more so when I live tweet, I don't feel like I'm getting that emotion out, and it feels like it's more pent up. Now, of course, this is turning into more of a therapeutic session to get this all admitted out there to everyone.
Sure.
But I feel it more beneficial to me to kind of let some sort of actual emotion out myself.
Okay.
And then be able to then allow that to kind of calm me down. Then I process what I saw. And then I can actually explain that, tweet my thoughts, tweet my reactions to the game after. Now, I still felt like crap after that game. And there was of course it was, we were at some family parties and birthday parties and for one little cousins, and they wanted a cat party. And, I'm not a big cat person, but if you are, that's fine.
Okay.
They had like these little plastic cat ears.
Right.
And I wouldn't wear them at the party, but I put them on after the game, and I tweeted out that the Browns literally played like little kitty cats, scared kitty cats instead of actual dogs that we haven't really seen. We call ourselves and our fan base, and yes, I know that they have the section that everybody has, the certain group has season tickets to, but we're all part of the Dog Pound Nation, the fans, the loyal fans across the world of the Cleveland Browns. And we want our team to play like dogs, like, just going at it every single game, win or lose, you're giving it all you got. Didn't look like they really gave all they had, and while the Ravens are a Super Bowl contending team,
yes, they are.
You still want to, especially with, I know, and all the excuses are there to be made, and we're not getting into those, because to come out that flat, it's one thing to lose to a Super Bowl contender when you kind of given everything and it's the first game and you don't know exactly what your full playbook is going to look like on defense, offense, going forward with the new coaching staff. But to only score 6 and to shoot yourself in the foot, and it felt like you still had opportunities in the game, and it's the same story every single year. That's where the frustration comes in.
The game was over by halftime.
Yes.
The moment that they stopped the Browns, they stopped the Browns, I think there was 40 seconds left, in the half, and they just go right down the field and score.
Yeah.
And then it put it up to 24-6 at that point in time. I mean, it was like a 15-point swing. It was something crazy along the lines of that. That being said, the game was over at halftime. So I want to do this.
Did you turn it off at all?
No, of course not. No, I don't.
I did. In the fourth quarter. But
if I did like what we did, because I was over at Tyler's house when we were watching that, we just switched it to red zone. Yeah, I mean, and every time the Browns got the ball, we would turn it back on and we would check it out like that. Red zone's the greatest thing known to mankind.
I wish I had access to red zone right now.
Red zone is literally the best thing ever. So. But we switched to that, and we just watched fantasy and everything like that. Basically, watched our fantasy players there for it. I do want to move on from the Ravens though, because
I was just about to
because there were a lot of things that went wrong with the Ravens, but a lot of things that went right against the Bengals, and I want to be a little bit more positive today. I woke up on the good side of the bed today.
Yeah.
Tired, but I'm definitely looking forward to breaking down the game film of the Bengals and Browns game, because once again, going into this game, after seeing Baker throw it for 39 times and only completing 21 passes against the Ravens, that was a tough pill to swallow, because you and I were talking, I wanted to see like 50 runs out of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and whoever else, the Andy Janovich, if you wanted to give him some carries as well. That didn't happen against the Ravens, but it did, and it was hard to do that because you were down so much.
The game dictated to start to throw the ball once it got away,
right?
But you also want to see better completion. If you're going to have to do that, you want to. Well,
and Baker was throwing behind people. I mean, Odell wasn't catching passes. I mean, there was a mutiny on our hand. If things didn't go right on Thursday against the Bengals, people were freaking out. And don't get me wrong, I'm a part.
You were too.
You
were ready to run Baker out.
I am a part of that right now, because the way that Baker and I have our relationship right now, it is a week-to-week relationship with Baker, and I think that's fair. I think that is 100% fair, because Baker needs to show he needs to be able to string along a couple of games like what he did on Thursday night. He threw 23 passes. That's perfect.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to see you throw over 25 passes. Do the Ben Roethlisberger mold of whenever he was a younger quarterback learning in the league. Now, Baker is 3 years in.
Yes.
That was his 31st game starting. So I expect more out of a number one pick who's 30 games in. He does have a lot of head coaches, 4 head coaches in 3 years. 5 offensive coordinators in 3 years. There's a lot of things going on with all of that. So I understand, all of the Baker defenders out there. But I have a week-to-week relationship with Baker. Until he can, string along a couple more games like that, then maybe I'll start hopping back on the bandwagon of him maybe becoming our franchise quarterback. Right now, he's a placeholder. In my mind, he's a placeholder. And I just need to see more from him. What he did on Thursday night was spectacular. And I don't want to discount what he did. The attempts that he had, once again, 16 of 23 for 219 yards. Nothing that blows you away. He had the 2 touchdowns, which was nice, and the 1 dumb interception. And at that point in time, Kevin Stefanski looked at him and he goes, "You're just not going to throw again." Like I don't want you to lose your confidence, to lose your swagger. And Baker had his swagger on that entire game up until he threw the interception. Not to say he lost confidence or anything like that.
Right.
But you're done. Give the ball to Kareem Hunt in the 4th quarter now, and let's run this clock out, which is exactly what you want to do. One more thing before I throw it over to you. Nick Chubb with 22 carries for 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt only 10 carries, but 86 yards and a touchdown. And then he also had the reception for the touchdown as well. Odell, obviously, with the 43-yard touchdown catch, fantastic all the way through. This is the type of offense that we were promised whenever we got Kevin Stefanski. The defense is a whole different story. There are holes everywhere, but Miles played well. You and I were talking before the game, before we did the CVC, game of the week, there for us. It was, we had some harsh words. You had harsher words for Miles than what I did.
I did.
You did. But I think Miles he's getting doubled and triple teamed, and there's nobody on the defensive line and linebackers that are really helping him out. So I am thankful that Miles had a great game, and the defense just got carved up by Joe Burrow, but that's to be expected with so many people, defensively that have been on the injured list.
I had harsh words for Myles Garrett, and first of all, the fact that you have a relationship with Baker Mayfield, can we get that connection? Can you get him on the podcast?
I can try.
Okay.
I can do my
All right.
best.
All right. Just work on that, okay, please?
Right. It's a week-to-week thing, though. So,
But you brought up the Myles Garrett thing and the conversation we were having, kind of testing the mics out before the game out there in Perry versus Chagrin Falls, and I'm really enjoying CVC TV.
Great time.
We can talk about that a little bit later, though. But I had harsh words for Myles Garrett because he just signed that big contract, and I understand that I did compare him to Aaron Donald, and it's coming from a different position along the defensive line.
Right.
But when you state and start to be more open and more vocal this offseason about wanting to prove that you are worthy of that contract, and one of the most disruptive defensive players, if not the most disruptive defensive player, to win Defensive Player of the Year awards, that's what you're going after from team success, of course. He wants to help his team win.
Of course.
And then have those awards come with that. If you are that, then yes, double and triple teams are hard to get through. And when you have a skeleton version of a linebacking core and one good cornerback out there on the field.
He played great. Denzel played phenomenal.
And that's what you're going to need. You need those 2 top guys to kind of lead it and let that energy filter down and kind of be almost like that point guard element where you make your teammates better, that energy feeding into the rest of the defense to kind of play above where their skill set may be as individuals. They got carved up, but Miles has to be at the forefront of looking at what did he do to try to help. And again, I understand that double and triple teams are hard to get through. But when you say that you're willing to take that kind of stuff on and still feel like you can have an impact or take those things on to help other teammates have an impact, and they're not, There's got to be more to the leadership element during the week to help your teammates get prepared and get on them and help them understand you have this certain skill set. You've seen every type of defense against your defense.
Yeah.
Your skill set. So how can you understand the game, and from the intellect that he has as an individual, and just the way he speaks, the way he
defensive minded, in general, right?
And his poetry,
sure, yeah.
And it's just his turn of a phrase is amazing. To use that intellect to help fuel and help be an extension of your defensive coordinator and your coach, while they're not doing captain patches on their jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you don't act like a captain. You don't act like a leader. When you are the main guy, you need to act that way. And he had a great game on Thursday night. So I'm not going to go into kind of where I was before the game on Thursday. I'm just saying, while everybody talked about Baker and Odell after that game, I didn't see as much talk about Myles Garrett after the first game as you said you did.
Yeah. I saw, in just a reference, I saw a lot of people ripping on Myles. I mean, he had the force, he had the fumble recovery that, set us up, and we just can't capitalize.
Right.
That was against Baltimore. Once again, Baltimore's a great team, and just throw out that video.
We're just throwing all that out, moving past that.
But I did see hate on Myles after that game.
But when games don't go the way that they should, or a team does not perform up to the standards that they should, while head coaches, and especially in the game of football, head coaches and quarterbacks will get all the praise for the wins and all the criticism for the losses.
Yeah.
We're at a point with this team, and the reason why we said we needed to see results from this team this year, no matter the circumstance, versus hearing them talk, was because you need to go out and execute, and there cannot be excuses for anyone. You hold everyone to a certain standard, and that is what needs to happen with this team. While some take more blame than others for their actual performance, no one deserves any excuses this year.
Yeah.
Look at what's actually happening on tape and analyze it from that point.
The way that I look at this, though, for Myles' sake, okay? I mean, Myles isn't coming out. He's not bitching and moaning about getting doubled and triple teamed. He doesn't say a word about that. I think that shows leadership, because he is opening up the possibilities for a Sheldon Richardson, who did have a really good game the other night. And Porter Gustin, he made a boneheaded play with a face mask, but past that, I mean, he's
call a hold on that beforehand, because he's reaching out with one arm to try to.
Of course, right, of course. But I mean, he's opening up these holes for for his teammates to dominate and do well. Right now, the other players just aren't capitalizing as much as I would like to see them do.
Yes.
Once again, Sheldon Richardson had a phenomenal game. Okay, I mean, he was in the backfield. He made a couple of tackles for losses, which is great, and you want to see that on a consistent basis. When Myles is getting doubled and triple teamed every single play, you want to see those guys dominate on the other end. But it's tough to do that at all times, because, who knows what they're doing. I mean, Joe Burrow passed for 61 times, and they had 3 sacks, okay? You want to see him. You look at someone like the Washington Redskins, the Washington Football Club.
Team.
Right, the Washington Football Club, okay? You look at someone like that, who we're going to be playing next week.
Yeah.
Okay. They had 8 sacks on Carson Wentz. I don't know how many times he dropped back, but they had 8 sacks. And Philly's line is just as bad as the Bengals line. I expect more from the defensive line position. Maybe it's because I played defensive line, and so I expect more coming out of especially a defensive end spot, opposite of Myles. But it's tough right now because, once again, I mean, we have Porter Gustin out there. I mean, it's just very tough to have people out there that aren't first round talent people, like that playing opposite of Myles Garrett. This is why, once again, I wish Jadeveon Clowney would have signed here. with that. I mean, I understand why he didn't, because he didn't trust, the Brown system and everything like that. It's a prove it sort of league. I understand why. But had he signed here, we would have had 8 sacks the other night, because they'd have to double him, they'd have to double Miles, and then it would just be free reign for Sheldon Richardson and Larry Ogunjobi. We would have had 8 sacks last night, or on Thursday, had Jadeveon Clowney been here instead of just the 3, because that's the type of player that you want opposite of Miles. It's unfortunate, but I do believe Miles had a phenomenal game. I thought individually, Miles had a great game, Sheldon had a great game, and Denzel balled out. I mean, stopping AJ Green. AJ had like 16 targets, only caught 3 passes. Denzel was everywhere. That is why he is a Pro Bowl cornerback. And a lot of people that gave him crap last year need to go back and look at the stats. He gave up less than 50% to opposing wide receivers last year. 50%. Jalen Ramsey gave up 66% and just signed a $100 million deal. Like, come on. Like, give him an opportunity to shine. I understand he missed 4 games at the beginning of the season last year, and that put a real sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. But Denzel balled out last year and really went under the radar for that, and he's starting off this year just as well. So I'm very excited to see how this defense sort of comes around. Whenever we get those pieces back, it might take a year, because Grant Delpit is someone who I thought could have won Defensive Rookie of the Year for us. Tore his Achilles, and hopefully he'll come back bigger and better than ever next year. But it is going to be a work in progress with his defense. That's why I think we're going to see a lot of shootouts like what we did on Thursday night, 35-30.
I just think that Myles Garrett and all those players need to be held to a higher standard than maybe they are, or maybe that what you're saying is giving them credit for. Okay. Because even in one game against the Ravens, or in 2 games, and then with nobody else stepping up behind, I get that there's injuries, but the teams that have success year in, year out in this league deal with that from time to time. Sure. Injuries happen in the game of football. The best ones are able to get players to play up to the standards of the organization and use their skill sets within that element to continue to have success and still be in position to make the playoffs. We consistently go through injuries and we have absolutely nothing. Yep. And that's something that Andrew Berry is going to have to work on, finding a way to not just get big-time players in here or keep the big-time players around and keep the core of this team in Cleveland. It's going to be about finding ways to balance out the budget, balancing out the cap space to build depth on this team. And we thought we had that. We've had more injuries than we can even expect.
I think on the offensive end, obviously we're loaded.
Yes.
We're stacked offensively. And thankfully, even Jack Conklin, who, one of the highest priced, right tackles in the league, after, we signed him, missed this game, and Chris Hubbard stepped right in and played a great game. I want to give a shout out to that offensive line, by the way. 0 sacks. That is, when was the last time that you could say that for a Browns team to have 0 sacks?
I think 2018.
It's been a while.
I don't know about last year. I don't know if there was any games there was 0 sacks.
Maybe 2018.
But I remember
maybe that Falcons game in 2018.
I remember in 2018 when Baker was quarterback and when we were playing well in those last 8 games.
Sure.
There was a stretch where he wasn't.
That's a good point.
He wasn't being sacked in 2018. And I think there was a stretch of a couple games, actually, where that offensive line was playing at an all-time high. If they can continue that, and even with injuries, have those guys coming in off the bench, and guys like Chris Hubbard, who has had some problems in the past before, but now feeling more confident and in a system and with a coaching staff that feeds that confidence to them, has that belief in them to continue to go out there and fill in when needed. If that offensive line continues like that, that's just going to open up having the 2 best running backs, the best tandem in the backfield in all the NFL. And I don't care.
There's no doubt.
I don't care how much brown and orange I bleed.
Yeah.
I will put the voice of reason, give that reality check to people out there based on unbiased elements that we can compete, if not the best, one of the best duos in the backfield in all the NFL. that offensive line continues to play like that, that's just going to open up more opportunities for Hunt and Chubb, and you're going to have more opportunities to get those deep plays down the field for Baker to find those wide receivers or put it into their hands and not have to throw it that much either. But it's going to look great in the stat book because put it in Jarvis's hands, put it in Odell's hands, and just let him go because the yards after the catch with those guys.
Oh yeah, the yak's unbelievable with those guys. The offense, once again, the offense was perfect. My MVP so far for this year is Kevin Stefanski. I know you could give it to Chubb because Chubb is, just unbelievable. Jim Brown 2.0. I don't want to go too far with that. That was pretty.
First of all, you flub with team names, and then now
let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. He is the best running back that we've had in Cleveland since Jim Brown. How about that? And I love, Ernest Biner, Kevin Mack, great players, okay? But he's the dude. He is the dude. We need to give him a contract. I'm praying we give you a contract, Batman, because that is what we need. He's the person that you want to build around. He's the type of running back that you can give that deal to and not have to worry about it. There's a lot of people out there that you give a deal to and you're like, I don't know, like that's a lot of money for that guy. I don't know how much money you can give Nick Chubb, but it's not enough. Right. Let me put it out there like that. And that offense that we base, around that run game has been phenomenal. But once again, Kevin Stefanski for me has been my MVP because I've been looking, I've looked at, some of the all 22 views of not only the Ravens game, but, some of the, like the replays and stuff like that, from this, past Cincinnati game. And there's wide open people everywhere. The routes that everyone's running and everything like that, he's calling the right plays. It's just depending on if Baker sees it or not. There's been a couple of, all 22 plays, all 22 views, that you're seeing that Baker missed wide open receivers, especially against the Baltimore, secondary. Completely wide open people. And that's something that Baker's going to need to do better. Him bringing it back down to, once again, that Ben Roethlisberger early Big Ben stage, only throwing 23 times and completing 16. So 70% of your passes are completed. Yeah. They're dink and dunk more so than not, but then you can pop it off with a 43-yard bomb to Odell. That's what you need to see from this offense right now, and then just run the hell out of the ball because we only had 58 plays the other night. 23 of them were passes. The others were runs, and that's a 60% margin for run to pass. That's what you need in this league. On our team, especially, you need to run it at least 60% of the time, and you're going to be successful because you do have two of the best backs in the league on this team at the same time. It's unreal.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I love the headband that you're rocking today, and you're kind of keeping with that Fat Baker element that you're just kind of playing into that now.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Diving right into it.
How tight is that on your head today?
Oh, it is so tight. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Because I can barely get through this door in here.
Yeah, I was gonna say you come in and we're dropping names that are team names that aren't even in existence anymore, and we're almost we're getting close to comparing a guy on his third year.
Think about
to
it,
the greatest running back of all time in the NFL.
Once again, he is not Jim Brown.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Right? No, I know he's not Jim Brown.
Right?
Okay, I did say Jim Brown 2.0. I know I said that. I over exaggerated. Okay, my bad, folks. But he is the best since Jim Brown, and I want to put that out there. Kelly, Biner, Mack, like great players.
Yes.
Nick Chubb's a special dude.
Yes, he is.
Nick Chubb is the best offensive player that we have. And you can't say that,
right?
About.
Oh, you don't gotta convince me. I missed last week, so I gotta give you a hard time.
Fair. No, that's fair.
We call each other brothers, so
right, of course,
I gotta give you a hard time if I can't be around last week to do it. You
right. know? But yeah, no, like I said, I think Nick Chubb is just a special dude. So.
Two things that really stood out to me in that Cincinnati game. One thing was after the game, typically you see when a coach is in his first year, you see like that. I know camera crews and COVID and everything, they can't really go in there either. But you would have thought maybe Brown's Twitter or their content team that's kind of testing along with the organization, you may see like some sort of like special moment in the locker room.
Yeah.
There wasn't that. And he came out after the game, and we don't read into anything that people say, but he's just taking the traditional approach of, yeah, we won, but we didn't win anything because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some fans kind of going back to that Ken Carmen of 92.3 The Fan element of Super Bowl, Super Brown, like that whole thing. And then there's other people not wanting to give the Browns any credit for winning that game because it's Cincinnati and they're the dregs of the AFC North.
Right.
You have to be able to see that middle ground. You can be as excited as you want to be, like
of course,
in the middle of the game,
you
after
won
the game.
Right.
Be excited, but understand it's 1 of 16.
Of course.
Just like Baltimore was 1 of 16. So you don't want one game to tell the whole story for your season.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to miss out on opportunities to put yourself in a position at the end of the year where you don't make the playoffs. And there is that one extra spot. The other thing that I really kind of looked into during the game was just the resiliency of the team, and just it was the reactions to plays. When Baker would throw a pick last year and even at Baltimore, you just saw like more and more confidence. You just kind of almost saw like this confidence essence leave him.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about how he had that swagger back in this game.
Yeah.
When he threw that pick, he still had that Baker rookie year swagger that even though he threw a pick, he was pissed at himself and like wanting to get back out there on the field. Took a blindside hit after that one too, but
glad they called it.
Right, yes. glad they called it, but of course the pick still stands.
Of course.
But it was it's that gunslinger mentality that can get you into trouble, but can also be such a big reward to have a guy like that, because one bad play is not going to determine how he plays the rest of the game.
Sure.
So while they did take the ball out of his hands and ran 6 plays and went all the way down the field in 2 minutes and scored a touchdown just running the football, amazing to see. I felt like he would have came back out there, and I had the confidence in him to complete more passes if they asked him to throw a few more times on that drive to mix in with the run and the pass on that drive, because I saw a different Baker in his eyes.
Yeah. I saw a different Baker, going back and recapping everything. I saw a different Baker out there as well. Completely a 180 difference between Baker from, the previous Sunday against Baltimore to that Thursday, that, 5-game stretch or, 5-day stretch. He looked completely different. Now, once again, maybe that is because it's the Bengals and it was the Ravens, sort of thing. But I don't want to discount what I saw.
Yes.
Because I think that was a good stepping stone for Baker and this club. Now you have 10 days off.
Yep.
Now you can rest, recover. Looks like Mac is going to be coming back. Mac Wilson is going to be, coming back. Apparently he's going to be practicing on Monday. Thank God, because this linebacker
guys coming back this week.
Right. So I'm really looking forward to getting a couple more pieces back. Hopefully, that'll help out the defense. If Baker can just be consistent. Once again, week to week love for Baker right now. Okay. I gotta see more though. If you do exactly what you did, maybe lose the pick every once in a while.
Yeah.
But if you do exactly what you did, 16 for 23 for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick every once in a while.
Yeah.
I will take that all day, especially this year. Next year, I expect a lot more because you should know the offense. Right. You should be way more comfortable. But for this year alone, I just expect rookie Baker. Give me rookie Baker. We're making the playoffs.
Yes.
No doubt we would make the playoffs if we have rookie Baker. So just do that, cut down on the interceptions, and we will be kosher.
Each week, now it's going to be tough next week because we won't have a game before we record again next week, but I think each week we should have like a Paulus love meter for Baker. Like, just kind of start the show out that way. Like,
we'll have to get that on the production.
We'll work on putting that into.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. Like a 1 to 10, and then I'll give you, and then the meter. Whoop. Yeah.
I'll see if I can, get an animated,
Right. Yeah.
like the love testers.
Right. I like that. There we go.
Yeah. So just to wrap everything up, you said it perfectly. You have to see it. You do have to see it week to week.
Yeah.
It's going to be now. Can you build on one win and go against the Washington football team?
Yes.
And get another one at home the following Sunday, about 8 days away from that football game. Transitioning a little bit, though, a little bit of the national storylines, and then we'll kind of keep our eye on for the Ohio State schedule there. Just quickly, how much of the NBA playoffs have you guys watched to this point?
I've watched a little bit of it. I've been watching, especially like the Lakers. They've been playing obviously extremely well. Not so much of the East though. Like the East just doesn't get me because there's not really that many huge stars out there that kind of make me want to stay up and watch it.
Right.
Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy Butler, and I think the Heat are going to beat the Celtics.
Yes,
they're up 2-0 right now. So I do think that the Heat are going to make the NBA Finals. I think it's going to be a Heat Lakers, which would be probably a pretty good finals.
Yes.
But that being said, like if you told me there were, like a percentage of the games I've watched, I probably watched 50%, maybe 50.
Peter,
not a single one.
You haven't seen a single game?
Nope.
Really? Are you catching highlights or anything like that?
Not even.
Not really.
I'm just,
you just sort of over it, or
NBA. Like I said before, I'm bandwagon. I love the Cavs when they're good. If the Cavs are, even if they're not that good, I'll catch a few Cavs games.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm not a huge basketball fan. It's just not. It doesn't.
To each their own.
Yeah. Doesn't do it for me.
He's got that great Indian shirt on.
He does.
I keep looking at that.
Almost looks like a Punisher shirt.
I know. I saw that, and I saw it. It popped up in my Facebook.
Just for everyone, it says Cleveland, and then it has a skull with it looks like the
it's
progressive field, sort of in it, the lights
and the diamond and the bridges,
and then it says for life down at the bottom with crossbone bats.
It
looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it popped up in my Facebook feed because of all of Kevin's things that pop up with tagging them. Yeah, and I saw that. I was like, sorry. No, man. I was
Don't be sorry for that.
Damn, that's a nice shirt. Yeah, so I had to get that.
It's a sweet shirt.
Yeah,
it is.
Though Joseph said, why does it say for life if it's got a skull on it? I said, you know what? I don't know, but it's a cool shirt. So
I guess because it's the living dead.
Until you die, after you die, you're still Cleveland. I guess.
There you go.
But
for life.
Yes,
I really love. It's all baseball. There's the TP in the middle there, and
for the nose.
It's like every time you look at it, it's like you see more things.
And that's Tower City. That's kind of.
I was gonna say, that's what it. Yeah,
it's a really nice. I just really like this shirt. So little Ohio in the bottom there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a lot of great design went into this shirt.
Really?
So, and I'm loving your I saw that. I was like, oh wait, I'm like, that's a collar. That's a ripped collar. The more I look at it, I'm like, I see more of the details of that. I'm just like, these guys are good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The artwork.
I'm just a basic B today.
Yes.
So.
I mean, when you go into their store in Lakewood, I mean, some of the artwork, and I can't remember which brother it is that does it, but the sketch, Etch-a-Sketch artwork that he does is crazy amazing. Like the amount of detail that goes into it, I don't even know how to, just two knobs and figure out how to get him going the right way.
This is a little off topic. You brought up the Etch-a-Sketch. Was he highlighted a couple years ago on the stuff? Yeah. Because I remember seeing that. Yeah. Same thing in Etch-a-Sketch. I like to think I have some artistic ability.
Yes.
I'm no artist, believe me. But I can't even make a freaking box. No. One that's square. And watching these guys, and they're just like, oh yeah, just Mona Lisa and all this crazy stuff they do. If that could be a whole show about that.
I remember working like a couple months on just figuring out how to get a line to go from one end to the other, keeping it straight to go from one end of the Etch-a-Sketch to the other. So those guys have been amazing. So I keep looking at that shirt and I just love it. It almost has that Barrio element because Barrio kind of has that skull that life after death or kind of the living dead type element to him. But we were talking about basketball, even though he's got a great Indian shirt on. You guys know I've watched a lot of basketball.
Of course.
And I'm with you, Paulus. I think Jimmy Butler and the Heat, it's just, that is such a well-run organization.
Pat Riley he's one of the best of all time.
Unlike Butler going to the 76ers when they thought that was that piece to kind of take him over the edge, now he's just able to be Jimmy Butler with the Heat, and he doesn't have to do too much because Goran Dragic is a great point guard and has been playing great in these playoffs.
Hero and
yeah. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was Lakers Celtics, which I'm sure the NBA kind of wanted, but the Heat are playing at too high of a level to get beat in that series. Now I'm making a prediction that's probably gonna hurt the Heat. So sorry, Miami fans. The guy that doesn't make predictions just predicted your team to win. I think that this Lakers Nuggets series is gonna be one to watch. Like you, I've watched more Western Conference than Eastern Conference, and part of it is because while they had a bunch of games going on during the day, and especially playoffs, they would go like 12 and then 3:30, 6 o'clock, then 9 o'clock. Those Western Conference games at night have been easier to see because you turn it on even when I'm working from home. I can't focus on it long enough to really know what's going on. But I've dug into the Eastern Conference enough, and I saw a great game between the Celtics and the Raptors in that 7-game series when. I think it was Anunoby hit that corner three to tie up or get the Raptors on the board, or else Celtics were off to the races in that series. But Heat are probably going to win there. Lakers Nuggets, I could see going 6 or 7 because the Nuggets just won't ever say die. I don't care that the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George choked in their series. And they shouldn't be being talked to the same level as some of the greats because they don't always come through in big moments. It's kind of like pick and choose.
Yeah.
And it's why they were right for the picking by the Nuggets. The Nuggets team is a team playing great basketball. Jokic, their center, is one hell of a passer. I mean, it is just amazing to see, and he's got that stretch center position now where
Jokic is unbelievable.
He can knock it down from 3. Jamal Murray when it comes time to really step it up and they go down 3-1, that's when Jamal Murray.
Him and Jokic were the best players in that series.
Yes,
without a doubt. And then maybe Kawhi.
And that Game 7, Jamal Murray just was going off. I mean, everything seemed to go in the bottom of the bucket. But of course, everybody's looking at the Lakers.
Yeah,
and we mentioned how LeBron was pissed about the MVP voting. It's the whole voting system, and LeBron talked about it last night. He's very astute. He's very perceptive about how it's
sure.
People are looking at the narrative and what they want to fit in and what their thoughts on players are when they go to vote for some of these awards. Like, he brought up the fact that someone a couple years ago won Defensive Player of the Year, and I forget who it was, and he was all about them winning Defensive Player of the Year, but they were second team all defense. I think it was back in 2012, 2013 he was mentioning, and I forget who it was, but someone won Defensive Player of the Year, but they were second team all defense. How does that happen? You're going to see the MVPs, the players of the year on defense, or rookies. You're going to see them on the first team most of the time.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how it should be.
Right.
It only makes sense.
But yes, LeBron is the most valuable player in all of the NBA. But it's the Jordan rule too, where they're not going to give it to the same guy, the best player in the league, every single year. Giannis had a great regular season when they were in actual arenas. Yeah, being in the bubble. Giannis was a different dude.
Of course he was.
Giannis was a different dude, but there was only 8 more games of the regular season. Then they bow out early. So does he really have that star quality? Like, is he right for the moment to win a championship? Or is it going to take him a while like it did LeBron to win a championship, to be the face of the NBA that everybody sees him as the next face? LeBron at year 17, he is just the basketball IQ fueling his game right now is just on a whole nother level. He doesn't have to have the highlight dunks, even though he still does.
He does.
But he twists an ankle 45 seconds later. He's heads at the rim. He's, takes care of his body so well, but gets so many players around him. Like Alex Caruso. Yeah. How many of you have heard of Alex Caruso?
I mean, I know who he is.
Right. But people are hearing about him more now because LeBron is there. So highlights going back to prestigious franchise like the Lakers.
Yeah.
And Alex Caruso is showing up, kind of almost like that Delly role that he plays when he comes off the bench, and just that
a little bit
that pest on defense that just all over the floor.
A couple more highlight dunks than Delly, though. Yeah, it's
a lot more highlight.
A lot more. Yeah,
a lot more highlight dunks than Delly. But it's just crazy to think that a guy that is in year 17 and has so many minutes, has so many miles on his body, and is just doing that. And usually game 1 is a feel-out game. He only had 15 points last night, 12 assists,
right? A
few rebounds and stuff. They've been losing game 1 the first 2 series. They go out there and they still win because AD steps up.
Yeah.
And LeBron doesn't have to be the big play impact, so he's able to rest when he's actually playing in series, let alone getting the series done early. Right. And still get that rest.
I still think that the Lakers. I mean, if it is going to be a Lakers Heat, and I think that that's what it's going to come out to be.
Lakers are in for a series if it becomes
right. Well, and that's my point. I think LeBron, made sure that they won this game because they're going to need a sweep and hope that Boston gets a game or two out of the Heat just to give them an extra day or two to breathe and recuperate, because LeBron is in year 17. Anthony Davis, you don't really have to worry about him so much. But I do think that LeBron is like the reason why they won that game last night is because he knows that he needs to get at least another day or two of solid rest before, hyping up for this Heat game, for this Heat series.
Yeah, and the first half was close last night, but it's the Lakers defense, and something you don't talk about much in the NBA now.
Right.
It's that Lakers defense that once they figure a team out, it just seems like they just take control. Yeah. And they've just kind of, especially with Rondo coming back, playoff Rondo,
he is a real thing.
It really is.
Playoff really is.
Playoff P? Yeah. Playoff PG? That's not a real thing.
Not so much.
Playoff Rondo?
Yeah.
No, that's real. But Paulus, during that, I know that you did get the full schedule there. If you want to run through that for everybody for Ohio State. Again, I know everybody's heard it already, or you've seen it on Twitter.
Sure.
We're getting this live, so live reaction. Paulus, I turn it over to you at the breaking news desk for the Ohio State schedule.
Yes, and October 24th, they start off Nebraska at home. October 31st, at Penn State. November 7th, Rutgers at home. November 14th, at Maryland. November 21st, home to Indiana. November 28th, at Illinois. December 5th, at Michigan State. And December 12th, Michigan is home, or I'm sorry, Ohio State is home for Michigan. And then
I'm sorry, what school is that?
The team up north.
Okay, thank you.
And then if you win enough of those games and whatever, the Big Ten championship game would be the following weekend of December 19th.
And that's one day before the college football playoff selection
committee.
I don't know that it's been decided if they are going to add the big. Has it been decided? Have you guys seen? Will they?
I have not seen like a firm decision, but why wouldn't you?
Right.
Like if Ohio State goes 9-0, that's winning all 8 games, and then the Big Ten championship game, they're 9-0 and they're destroying teams. How could you not put them in whenever they were a preseason number 2 team? That wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. Given I understand that you're docking them because they missed out on at least probably 3 games at that point in time. But I mean, if you're 9-0 and you were preseason number 2, you got to give it to them. I'd understand, and we had talked about this earlier. If they had only played 6 games, and then maybe the Big Ten championship game was the 7th, I don't think that you could go 7-0 and do that. You got to have at least 9 games to
on the cusp
really
of 10.
Of course, that would just look so weird. What if you win the national championship game and you're 9-0? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This isn't 1940s. You got to have as many games as possible in the season. I think 9 games with that championship is a solid run.
Yeah. Are they at Penn State this year, or is Penn State
It is
home?
It is at Penn State. That is Halloween.
Halloween
night.
That'll be a good game.
That'll be a very good game, but probably it's safe to assume no fans in the stands, so you're not going to have the whiteout, at Penn State.
Yeah, that's going to be an eerie sight.
That is an eerie sight
at Happy Valley,
and it's going to be that just helps out Ohio State so much more.
Right.
Think about, like,
True.
there is no home field advantage from here on out for the Big Ten. So it is literally team against team. Like, you don't have to worry about the fans. You don't have to worry about the stadium rocking in Wisconsin. You don't have to. It's literally team against team. And I love that because Ohio State is so much better, heads and shoulders better than everyone else in this conference, without a damn doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to, so there's no fans at any game.
I don't.
There's no.
That's
probably not.
See,
It's safe to assume that.
That's going to be weird just because of the energy at the Horseshoe.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
So, but yeah, Ohio State is.
You figure they're going to have like the loudspeakers going, have the crowd noise, kind of what they're doing, for the NFL games. But if there's no fans there, once again, it's just straight up. I mean, you got to tell me that doesn't benefit Ohio State.
Oh, I think it does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you wonder if it's going to go state to state too, because that's what the NFL is doing. So, the Browns had 6,000 fans in the stands. I know
sounded like they were a packed crowd too.
Was Tyler at that?
Tyler was at that game. Yeah.
How did he describe
the
atmosphere?
He said it was crazy. I mean, he was drunk, but he said it was fantastic. He said so.
Did he describe that when you guys were doing the podcast for our specific fantasy league yesterday and ripped on everybody and said, "Oh, well,
I didn't rip on you. I backed you up. You up.
It took you a little while.
Oh, of course I had to rip your team. I mean, Saquon Barkley didn't do a damn thing for you. No. Mike Evans, I told you I didn't like Mike Evans. Yeah, I thought that he was the bust of busts this year. That being said, I like Drew Brees. You have Tom Brady starting this week against Carolina. That's a smart move. Because Carolina's defense is awful. But I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a good bounce back week against Chicago. So I gave you props. I even said that I picked you to win this week.
Yeah, I was right around the 500 mark, and he said, Tyler's going like, oh, well, he sucked last year, and he's picking up right where he left off. And then this week...
Got to roll with the punches in this league, especially with Tyler. Behind a Mike, Tyler is just going to roll with it.
You only know me 1 year there, Tyler. I appreciate the sponsorship. Trust me. Trust me, I do. But, you start coming at me just... And
you bring it back.
You want to give crap? I mean, I'll give crap too. At least I scored over 100 points.
That's a good. See, there you go. At least that's true. I mean, Tyler, your team does suck. It does. It absolutely does.
Hey, I mean,
although I score 180 and end up losing. Yeah. You can't win.
Right.
Yeah. For some reason, I just can't win right now.
We'll have fun with that.
Of course.
I'm going to try to. I might have to try to join you guys. Just
100%. Yeah. We'll definitely do it.
Every now and again, if I got the time on when you guys record, I'm going to have to join in on that, and I'm sure there'll be many of the guys that want to. League of Ordinary Gentlemen that want to jump in.
That's right, yeah.
Go back and forth on that. Of course, he did call this the trash can or the drudge. The matchup I have this week is like
was it the drudge of the week or something like that?
Something like that,
right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I know my running back sucked, but there were like 5 or 6 picks that I trusted you guys to help me out with because I was, I had to get the CVC TV thing started before you could jump in with me. So,
And we gave you a decent little roster there for us.
You got to wait for Bill's slow ass to...
Just rip him. Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, Bill's slow ass. Yeah, I mean, Bill doesn't know how to pick a team. Okay, you know what? He does know how to pick a team, but he takes his he just takes his jolly old time, picking his team. It's the same team as what he had last year.
Do we have the draft clock on this?
Yeah, honestly,
I was wondering.
We needed to get that draft clock going because that was ridiculous. Bill would take like 5 minutes per pick. He's like, so I think I'm Devontae Adams. And then it took you that long to get Devontae Adams? Come on, man.
It took longer for him to pick, and we were closer to him in the draft order. It took longer for him to pick than it did for all the other 5 or 6 picks in front of us.
I think I'm gonna go with. Let me think about this.
Is this guy good?
I'll go with Chris Carson. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait. Whoa. I didn't remember. I didn't move the sticker yet.
I didn't put it. I took it off the board. I took it off the paper, but I didn't put it on the board. Like, come on, Bill. Come on. Stop it.
It's all in good fun, guys. I know you guys try to dig in. I know you guys try to skip through this podcast to see if we're going to rip on here too. So there's one podcast that is just going to be focused on ripping everybody.
It's going to be that one.
We may dig in a little bit. We still are thinking about kind of how we want to add fantasy to here. I mean, right now it's one weekend. I always try to feel it out for the first week or two, and just try to, and then kind of go on the waiver wire. That's where you make your money in fantasy.
Oh, for sure.
It's not the initial draft. It's how you supplement your team for guys that underperform or maybe injured, and how you replace those. So we were talking Ohio State football, though. That's weird.
We were, and then just went straight into it.
I swear I bleed scarlet and gray, guys. I swear. But I mean, I guess just finishing up with the with Ohio State's schedule that just came out. It's going to be weird. What do we know what date is Thanksgiving this year? Because that weekend is usually the weekend of Ohio State versus team up north. Of course, they're going to be kind of middle of December. Right. It's still the last game. But
the 26th.
So you got Illinois on the weekend of Thanksgiving. It's still Ohio State football anytime is great. But when you get the game on, it's an early Christmas present or a little early holiday present, I will say, for everybody there.
It is.
For that game. And then, of course, the Big Ten championship. They will let the Big Ten, they'll get, if they're good enough and Ohio State performs the way that they should, they will get into the college football playoff. There's too much money involved. And that's what brought this back, money and getting that daily testing. That was the big thing. I know that people want to say that, they were right from the beginning with all of their sources and all of that.
Yeah.
When it goes back and forth and if it's going to happen or not, and it just ends up happening around the time that you thought it would, like the season's starting around the time you said it would.
Yeah.
But you say, the decision's going to come this date. No, now I'm hearing, now that we're 15 minutes past that, now it's happening this day. Or I got the... I'm sorry. I
understand what you're doing.
I stayed off Twitter.
Yeah.
Because, and it wasn't just one person or another.
Sure.
There was a lot of saying that, there was a lot of people saying, I knew this was going to happen already, that type of thing. I didn't even know the Big Ten was back.
Yeah.
Because I was off Twitter already because of the Browns game. And then once I kind of got the Bleacher Report, ESPN update, the notification, then I continue to stay off Twitter just for other reasons. I'm not. We're
if you're not first, you're last. That's how a lot of people work. So
well, that's dumb because you could be second, third, fourth, fifth.
Hell, you can even be fifth.
We really focused on Ohio State, guys,
right?
Because we know how good this team can be.
Yeah.
And the main one that's been at the forefront, who is a captain for this team, their quarterback Justin Fields, and then Ryan Day leading them as well. And you got Sean Wade coming back, who said he was gonna just focus on the draft.
Yep.
Now that the season's there, they're gonna have to figure out some of this because some of those athletes that decided to opt out when they knew Big Ten wasn't playing, they would opt out of a season they thought was going to happen in January. Like Minnesota's top wide receiving target, I think, wants to come back, but he's already signed with an agent.
Yeah,
and that's a big no in the NCAA.
I think they're going to let him come back though because of the circumstances that were going on. They will.
Yes.
As much as we rip the NCAA and Mark Emmert and everyone like that, I think they're going to look at it and go, you know what? Let's just let the kids play.
Yes. As much as we don't like that a pandemic is still happening, if that's what takes the corruption out of the NCAA,
right?
Well, I guess you got to find silver linings somewhere, right?
That's right.
But of course, continuous prayers. Honestly, seriously, continuous prayers out to everyone on the front lines. Everyone's still dealing with COVID-19. We're still thinking about you. Anything we can do to help, please let us know. That is going to wrap it up, though, for the Voice of the Land podcast, giving our live, not so much reactions to Ohio State schedule, kind of going off the rails. But a lot of fun today. Glad to be back. Big things coming. That's all we can say right now.
Yes.
Big things are coming for the Voice of the Land. Tune in to CVC TV as well on ChagrinValleyConference.com for each game of the week for high school football. Big game coming this week, but I'm going to be professional.
Wycliffe and
Independence.
4-0.
4-0
each team.
Yep. And I'm telling you, Peter and I saw Independence against Cardinal.
Good team.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Good team.
Okay.
Had 4 quarterbacks take snaps. All had success running and throwing the football.
Sure.
So It's going to be.
Can't wait.
And Wycliffe runs the traditional wing tee, that old school wing tee, and they run it to a tee. Honestly, they just hit you from anywhere with that rushing attack. So
sounds good.
Going to be a great game. So tune in there on Friday. We'll be back next Saturday. But for my brother Nick Paulus and our producer extraordinaire Peter Tellep, reminding all of you sports fans out there, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. And we love you all 3,000. We will see you all next week.